Hello, Nibley, back again. One last story for you. This one, again, based on a film, but this one is a little bit more difficult. The last one was pretty easy. The first one, not so sure. This one, not so simple. This one is an old story, and it's got a very peculiar name. I came across this many years ago and didn't realise it was actually the same story as a film, made by Disney again. Disney took a lot of stories and turned them into films, though they did have some original ones. But this one has a strange title. It's called, and I'm not making this up, which is unusual for a storyteller, it's called Prince Derek and the Ring. Now, many years ago, there was a king and a queen, and they lived in a huge palace on top of a mountain surrounded by forest in a huge land that all belonged to the king. And everybody was reasonably happy. Nothing really was there to make them sad. And everybody lived quite harmoniously, which is how it should be. And then the king, he had children. And his eldest child was a boy. He was a prince. And they called him Derek. Apparently it was after some great uncle or something like that. But I have no idea. It's not part of the story, so it's not really that important. But anyway, he was called Prince Derek. Now, all kings and queens, they all have a fairy. Somewhere in the castle, somewhere in the palace, they will have a fairy. And that fairy will look after the king or the queen. And the king said to his fairy, he said, "Fairy, I would like my son, Prince Derek." The fairy said, "That's a strange name." The king said, "I'm not going into it now." He said, "I would like Prince Derek," he said, "to grow up to be a good king. I would like the people to love him. I would like him to be just, fair and honest." Said the fairy, "We can do many things, but we can't guarantee it all the time." "Not that." She said, "I'll tell you what I can do." And she produced a ring, a very ordinary looking ring. She said, "This ring, if the boy wears it, it will grow with him as his hands get bigger, so will the ring. But it will try and make him as honest, as true, and as faithful as we possibly can." The king said, "That would be good enough for me." And so they took Prince Derek and put the ring on his finger. Now, Prince Derek knew nothing about the ring until he was about 4 or 5. And then the fairy appeared in front of him and said, "Prince Derek, that ring you wear is a fairy ring. Now, if you are good, and if you are kind, and if you are honest, and you are brave, and you are true, you will not even know it's there. However, if you are bad, you are evil, you are nasty or unkind, you will feel a pain from that ring." At that young age, Prince Derek didn't really understand what was going on. But he said, "Okay." And he thought about the ring as he grew up. And as he got older, he tried to be as good as possible. And most people, they can be as good as they can. They don't mean to be bad sometimes. Sometimes they just do it without thinking. However, one day, when he was 16, he was out hunting. It was his favourite occupation, hunting. He loved hunting. However, he caught nothing. A frustrating day. A day when nothing went right. His horse went lame. His saddle stirrup broke. His favourite spear got lost in a bush when he threw it at a deer and missed. Oh, he wasn't in a very good mood when he got back. And when he got back to the castle, he stomped up to his room. And when he got to his room, his little dog, his lovely little dog, a Yorkshire Terrier, he was very happy to see his master, and he jumped up and bounced around to say, "Ah, you're back, master, you're back. Play with me, play with me, play with me." But Prince Derek was in such a foul mood. You know what he did? He did something you should never do. He kicked the dog, not hard, but kicked him nevertheless, and said, "Oh, go away, I don't want to play. Go away, leave me alone." And in his little finger, behind the ring, he felt a short, sharp, stabbing pain. "Ow," he said. Ow! What was that? He said, oh, he said, I don't want to play with the dog. Take it away from me. And the pain came back. Ow! Oh! He ignored it. He went down for dinner. One of the servants was a bit slow serving. He was still in a foul mood. He shouted at the servant, oh, you lazy, lazy servant! He said, oh, for goodness sake! Why are you so lazy? We ought to sack him, father. And he felt a pain behind his finger. Oh! Now, from that moment on, Prince Derek became more angry, more unkind as the days passed. And the more he became unkind, the more that the ring would stab him in the finger. Oh, he said, this cursed ring, he said, I shall get rid of this. One afternoon, he was looking out the window, and as he looked out the window down into the courtyard, he saw, coming through the main gates, a beautiful young girl. It was the daughter of a local mayor. He thought, ooh, she's pretty. He went down the stairs to meet this young girl. She was delivering some flowers from her mother to the Queen. He pulled her to one side. He said, you are beautiful, she said. Will you go for a walk with me? The girl said, no. Prince Derek said, why not? What is your name? She said, my name's Celia. He said, well, Celia, why won't you go for a walk with me? I'm the prince. He said, one day this will all be mine. You could be queen, you never know. And Celia said, you are handsome to look at, but you're not very nice to talk to. What? Said the prince. I'm very nice. What would you know anyway? You're only a mayor's daughter. Marry me, Celia. You'd be stupid not to. And he felt the pain behind his finger so much, a little bead of blood dripped down. He looked at it and said, oh, this ring. And he threw it underneath a huge wardrobe in the hallway. He said, right, he said, don't have that ring anymore. Marry me, Celia. And Celia said, you're so horrible. I won't marry you. And he said, right, well, if you won't marry me, you will be taken away and you will be sold as a servant. And he clapped his hands and two soldiers came out and grabbed hold of Celia and took her. Her parents never saw her. They sold her to a man who lived on a farm selling sheep miles and miles away up a mountain. Ha, 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 said Prince Derek. That's what you get for defying me. And I don't have the ring on my finger anymore, so I don't care. And he was horrible to everybody that day. The next day, he said, I'm going hunting. I'm going to go and kill something. I want to go and kill something. Don't want to eat it, don't care. Just want to go kill something. So he got his horse and his spears and his bow and arrows, and he rode out on his own towards the forest. As he rode out, and he was about to enter the forest, beside a tree was an old lady. He said, get out of the way, crone. Get out of the way, you old woman. He said, I don't need you in the way. Get out of the way, I'm going hunting. And the old woman lifted up her cloak and she looked at him. It was the fairy. The fairy said, you've not learnt your lesson. You're not a kind man. You're not a brave man. You're not an honest man. You are quite a horrible man. In fact, you remind me of some of the beasts that live in the forest. You have the anger of a lion. You have the misery of a bear. And you have the stubbornness of a goat. And so therefore, that's what you'll become. She waved her hands. The prince felt himself, twisting, turning, stretching. Oh, he said, what's happening to me? Oh, he said, that's not pleasant. Oh, I don't like that much. And he grew huge and covered in hair. He said, what's going on? From his head, 2 horns curled around. What? He said. And then his voice disappeared, and it was just a roar as his face and snout moved out. What was that? He thought. That wasn't me speaking. That was just a roar. He said, I'm a beast. I'm a monster. And he ran from the fairy as quickly as he could. He ran into the forest, but he ran so fast and so blindly, he didn't see a trap left by some other hunters. He fell into the pit. He roared, huge and hairy with horns and snout and snarling teeth. But the hunters came out. They said, what is this beast here? That's nothing I've seen before. And the hunters threw down nets and threw down ropes, and they tied the beast, the prince, all up. The prince couldn't get out no matter how much he struggled. The hunters dragged him from the pit, and they put him on to the back of a cart, and they took him back to the city. When they got there, they went to the local zoo. They said, "Look what we found. Don't know what this is." And the zookeeper said, "That truly is a weird and strange looking animal. What beast is that?" "What a strange, strange beast indeed. Throw it in that empty cage over there." So they threw the beast into the cage, and they fed him raw meats, and they left him. The prince struggled at first. He rattled the cages, but he couldn't get out. He had a long time to sit and think. As he sat and thought, he said, "This is me. This is me being bad. This is me being unkind. This is me being horrible. This is me being nasty. How do I escape? There must be only one way. I must become good. But how can I be good? I'm stuck in a cage. How can I prove how good I am?" And from that moment on, he gave his zookeepers no problems at all. He bowed low to them. He didn't roar at them. He ate his food, and he was as kind as could be. The zookeeper said, "Actually, what a fierce beast he was when he arrived, but he's actually quite docile now. Quite nice." The zoo carried on like ever. Then one day someone made a mistake. They left the latch off the tiger's cage, and a tiger broke free. The tiger roamed around the zoo. It approached a group of small children. The zookeeper couldn't get near the tiger. The tiger would lash out with claw and with teeth. Prince Derek, in his cage, saw what was happening. He was so frightened for the children. He let out a mighty roar. He pulled apart the cage by the door and the lock, and it sprang apart. He leapt out. He stood in front of the children and roared at the tiger till the tiger was so frightened it ran back to its own cage. The zookeeper locked him in. Prince Derek immediately turned, bowed to the children, went back to his cage and shut the door behind him. The zookeeper said, "You truly are a wonderful beast. What a kind beast." Now that night, as Prince Derek sat in his cage, the fairy appeared before him. She said, "You are learning, but you're not there yet. But I'll help you." And she turned him into a small, friendly little puppy dog. Prince Derek barked. Ooh, he thought, "This is better than the big horrible beast." He said, "But still a beast I am." The zookeeper came in and found Prince Derek. He said, "That huge beast has turned itself in. There must be some magical beast, this." He said, "I'm going to take it to the palace." He took it to the king and the queen, and he showed it. And the queen said, "What a beautiful, beautiful dog. What a beautiful, beautiful puppy. May I keep him?" And the zookeeper said, "It would be my honour." And so Prince Derek, he stayed by the queen's side. And then one day, the queen, she lost her most favourite necklace. It fell down a hole as she was out walking in the grounds. Prince Derek said, "I will find that for you." He barked, "Ruff!" And he burrowed himself down into the soil. He crawled through a tunnel. He found the necklace right down the bottom of the hole. The queen, she said, oh, my dog is getting my necklace for me." And Prince Derek came out with the necklace in his teeth. She said, "Oh, what a kind and lovely doggy you are." And she stroked him and fed him a special piece of ham. That night, as Prince Derek lay in his basket asleep, the fairy appeared. She said, "You're nearly there. You're very good. But you're not there yet." And she tapped him again. Now this time he turned into a dove, a white dove. And he flew out of the window. He flew across the trees until he came to the mountains. And when he got to the mountains, he found a shepherd hut. And when he found the shepherd hut, he found a young girl looking after the sheep. She was sad, but she was not uncomfortable. Prince Derek landed on her shoulder, and with his dove's head, he dried her tears. said the young girl. A beautiful dove, she said. What a wonderful little bird. Thank you for drying my tears. I'm not really sad. I would just like to go home. The dove flew back onto her shoulder and stayed there for the next couple of days. And when she was sad, she would pet the dove and she would feed him small seeds. After 3 days, the fairy appeared in front of Prince Derek and said, Have you learnt your lesson? I think so. You are now nice and kind again. And with that, she tapped him again, and Prince Derek became himself. He stood before the young girl. He said, I'm back. I'm back. It's me again. Oh, thank goodness for that, he said. It was not nice being a beast. It was okay being a puppy dog, but it was wonderful being a dove and sitting on your shoulder and drying your tears. And the young girl said, That was so nice of you. Thank you so much. You are a very handsome prince. Are you nice? And Prince Derek said, I am. With that, he took her by the hand. They went down the mountains and through the forest till they got back to the palace, and he introduced her to the king and the queen. The king and the queen said, You are Celia. You are the daughter of the mayor. You, of course, can marry my son, said the king. And she did. She became a princess. And Prince Derek, he scrabbled underneath the wardrobe until he found the ring, and he put it back on. One day he became king, and Celia became queen. And he was liked by everybody. He was kind, he was honest, he was brave, he was true. Occasionally, he'd have an off day, and he'd feel the ring just twitch on his finger, and he'd remember it's good to be nice to everybody. And they lived happily ever after too. Now that was a story that I heard many years ago. I also heard it in French. To give you a clue if you haven't guessed which one it is, it's in French. It's called La Belle et la Bête. I think my French isn't that good. So those are the 3 stories that I'm sending to you lovely Nibley people on the theme of films. I hope you enjoyed them. I hope you enjoy all the other virtual Nibley stuff that's going on around us. And I really hope that this time next year, we'll be winding up to see each other in a field near Nibley. And I will be in my beautiful onion tent up in the orchard, and I will be telling you some more stories. I look forward to seeing you. Before I go, just one more little drink of Nibley juice. Oh, that's wonderful stuff. So until next year, goodbye for now, and stay safe. Bye.